Okay, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Sorry for the tech problem. One of the beautiful parts about being live is that we're live. One of the bad parts about being live is that you get tech issues sometimes. So thanks for bearing with us. And we actually had a whole bunch more people sign on. So welcome to the webinar. Mike, Bianco, and I are gonna jump in right now. So thanks for joining. We've had the privilege now of working with folks like yourself from Denver for about maybe 7 years. And in that time period, we've been able to do a lot of deals together. And like what's happening in your guys' market is incredible. You guys saw a crash 7-8 years ago that's been now propelled with this upward trend, and it kept going and going and going up. It's not going up as fast as it used to go, but it's still going up, and it's this really unique phenomenon. So what's happened is a lot of people now have been able to tap into the equity that they created either buying 5 or 6 years ago, or by wholesaling, or by flipping houses during that same era. And what's kind of cool about that is now people are able to take a lot of that equity that they've gained and take it and transfer it to other parts of the country that are just starting to see that uptick. So what I want to talk about tonight is some of the facts that are happening and some of the ways that you can actually tap into it and actually get deals that make sense for you. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you. So you'll see it popping up in just a second. And then I'm going to minimize my camera and Mike's camera so that you can actually see the screen, and it hopefully won't have any more challenges that come from it. And now it will be loading on your screen. And it should be coming right about now.
And we are going to need this little thing.
You want to take the little pointer?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so here's where we're going with this. Okay. Let me take that one now. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Wait, what did I press?
We're going to press this one. I'll tell you when to press it, though. Okay?
Which one?
This one. I'll tell you when. Okay, so first and foremost, just to do a quick introduction and show you basically how we got here and where we're trying to go with this. My name is Nate Armstrong. I've had the privilege now of doing real estate for about 10 years. I've had the privilege of starting with my very first house, which you see up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, 1104 Cook Avenue East. And I've been able to do million-dollar projects like you see in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. I got a chance to do some car washes, some apartment buildings, and almost everything in between. But for me, it did not all start there. Like I literally started with that very first house that you see in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And then I got the chance to basically go out and start teaching for some of the real estate gurus out there. And that's how I got to know Mike. Mike and I actually shared the same stage together speaking at a real estate event and got to know him over time. And now years and years later, we're still able to do deals together across the country. So it's a really unique opportunity that this teaching kind of led for me. That's a picture of my wife and I. We got to go teach nationwide across the country as well. And then what I realized is that during this teaching around the country, a lot of people had similar questions or similar challenges to real estate deals. The market's changed, of course, over the last 10 years, but a lot of people had similar questions. So along the path, we kept putting together a process that would work for people regardless of what was happening in the marketplace. And now, thanks to 10 plus years of doing this, we figured out a pretty good system to it. And just in the last 2 years, the system has literally lit on fire because of the power of the internet in real estate investing. And that's what I want to show you tonight. I want to show you what the internet can possibly do for you in real estate investing that maybe you haven't seen before. Okay, after my teaching, I got a chance to write a book. It became a bestseller. I only share that, and I only share that I got to meet like this guy, Donald Trump Jr., just so you know that who you're talking to on the other end of the webinar here, like I've been able to do some real estate stuff. Like I'm not, like I promise I didn't just roll out of bed and say, hey, I'm going to teach you about real estate. We've been out there and testing this stuff for a long time, but we started with that very first property that I showed you, 1104 Cook Avenue East in St. Paul, Minnesota. So now let's go ahead and get into the good stuff, okay? Will this stuff work for me is probably the question that you're asking, okay? Let me show you. Okay, the concept that we're talking about tonight is basically taking a broken house like you see in the upper left-hand corner of your screen and then doing a renovation. Like you can see this couple, this is Chip and Johanna. They're from one of the flipping shows in HGTV. They renovate houses. And then we take it into a rental. We fix it up and then rent it out and we start collecting rent on it. And then we start collecting cash flow and or sell the property. Okay, you guys have probably seen this before in some cases, maybe not as a full-on business, but you've probably seen it in some cases before. And what that means basically is you're doing a landlord flip. You're buying, fixing, renting, and then selling it as a landlord. Okay, it doesn't maybe sound all that shiny and flashy, but here's what's happened. And maybe you did or didn't notice this, but just in the last 2 years, there's been over $1 billion in sales from just one group that's listing these properties online. One group, 500 million per year. Just imagine that. Like even try to imagine $1 million in property sales in 1 month, let alone 500 million in 1 year. So they crested the $1 billion mark with just one company. Okay, now that that company's done that, it's been featured all over the news and you're seeing articles about it, and now people are kind of getting the craze for it. Like people realize that there's a huge market. There's a huge market for turnkey rentals out there for people that want to step in and actually buy them. And what this whole process for basically the last 10 years, it used to take me 16 full-time people to actually produce these turnkey rentals. But what's happened in the last couple of years with Home Invest Systems is we took those 16 people, created systems around it, and now one investor can step in and do the same work that 16 people had to do before with the right systems. Okay, I'm going to get into that and I'm going to explain how in a little bit. We call this term, like this process of buying, fixing, turning into rentals, and then collecting cash flow, and then sometime later selling, market making. Okay, this term has been coined by Home Invest as market maker. You've probably heard of market makers in the stock market. Literally, market makers in the stock market are the people that they will buy any stock anytime at a discounted price. Well, folks that are buying rehab properties like this, they're buying at some sort of a discount as well, with the expectation that they can collect cash flow for any duration of time that they want, and then someday later sell the property. That's market making. Okay, so here's my commitment on this webinar tonight. I'm going to be very kind of to the point about it. My commitment is we're going to show you how we can take you from broken house to collecting cash flow. And then I only ask that I get one commitment from you tonight. Does that sound fair? Okay, my commitment and my ask is this. If you see something that's of value here, can you please implement in your business? Okay, could you let me know that over in the chat roll? Could you? And Bob, thank you for letting Mike know that he never sound better. But let me know on the chat roll if you see something tonight that's of value, you'll implement in your business. That's the ask that Mike and Bianco and I have tonight. Okay, next, what are the goals? What are the big 3 things that we're going to uncover tonight? First thing, we are going to cover secret number 1 is that you can still find deals out there, but they're not always those retail flips that people are trying to fight so hard to get right now. You can still find good deals out there, but they might not be the ones that you're looking for. Okay, we'll get into that quite a bit tonight because I know that that's basically the topic of the year. How am I going to find deals nowadays when there's multiple offers on things and people are competing like crazy to get into these retail flips? We're going to show you how tonight. Okay, secret number 2, how can I manage contractors and property managers from a distance, from afar, from my living room, from my kitchen, from my office, wherever it is? We're going to get into that tonight and actually unveil it. You can do it. You can do it from your living room. You can do it from your office if you want. And then number 3, how can I do this market making or buy, fix, and sell rental properties without any prior experience? We're going to show you that tonight as well. Okay, so first, just to set the framework and to show you what kind of stuff we're looking at, I'm going to show you a couple of houses that I did and some that clients did, and we'll kind of set the stage for the houses that we're going to be talking about tonight. So this property here, this is 1118 62nd in a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We purchased this for $70, rehabbed it for $12, and then we were all in for $82,000 and rented it out for $1,300 a month. You can see, like, I don't know how you feel about spending $82 and getting more than $1,100 in rent per month, but those are really, really good numbers that we saw on this property. Here's another one that one of our clients did. They spent around $135,000 and then rents are projected at $2,000 per month. I don't know how you feel about spending $135 and getting $2,000 per month, but it's a really, really good rate of return on that one. Here's another one. My wife did this. This was her very first property. Bought this one for $60, rehabbed it for around $20, and rented it for about $1,100 per month. And a side story, I could go on and on about this one, but I'll just keep it brief. My wife bought this one and she went through the whole renovation, and actually she had to shed tears arguing with the contractor back and forth because the contractor tried to do change orders and was late and all that kind of stuff. But she fought it out and she got this thing done. and she stayed mostly on budget and got this thing rented out. It was a great property for us for a long time. So just to set the stage, these are the kind of properties we're talking about tonight. Okay, so let's tear into secret number one. You want to do secret number one, Bianco?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go into secret number one. Press this button for me. Okay. Okay, the best deals that are out there, you can still find, but they might not be the retail flips. Now, I'll give you an example. This flip right here, this was a retail flip that was done in a northern suburb of Chicago. We actually won an award for this thing. We did 6 houses of similar magnitude at the same time. We got a national award for this thing. It was featured all over the place in almost every major news outlet. And this property should have been a total home run, along with the other 6 properties that we got into. And on this particular project, or all 6 of these, I should say, I was basically the co-sponsor on them. I had a partner at the time that took them out and started them. And then that partner, halfway through the projects, ended up kind of jumping ship. You're going to talk on number 2 as well? Okay, so I'll finish this one. You can talk on the next one. Okay, so partner jumped ship on these projects when he realized that the budgets were upside down. I had to get involved heavily, literally moved right in the area, basically focused every bit of energy that I had on these flips. And I soon too realized what he previously realized, that the budgets were going way over and that we weren't going to make any money on these. Not only were we not going to make any money on these, but potentially lose money. That's the realization that I came to at a certain point in these. But still knew that had to get them things done and finished in order to have a chance at selling these properties on the backside. So camped out on these things for about a year, literally gave up any chance of making money on these things and gave up a lot of other income opportunities because I had to focus on these flips, and started having to throw money into them, paying contractors, paying for the mortgage payments, the taxes, the insurance. And on $1 million property, you can probably do the math, but on $1 million property, you're running expenses per month of about $10,000 between the mortgage payment at around $6,000, the taxes, the insurance, the utility bills, etc. And imagine having a $10,000 per month payment times 6 properties. Quickly, like, these properties started to become a drain. Rather than them being like this awesome, award-winning, cool flip, like, they became a nightmare, so to speak. And we even tried to do secondary options, like, hey, could we rent these things out if we can't get them to the finish line and sell them? And we started doing the math, and we realized that on these big flips, they don't pencil out as rentals. They're really scary. Like, you've got $10,000 in expenses per month, but it doesn't mean you're going to rent it out for $10,000 per month. So we realized that rent would not cover it if we tried to rent these things out. So we knew we just had to get them done, get them on the market, and get them sold. And so during this time, like, literally, I had to ask my wife to downsize. We went from our 3-bedroom house to a 1-bedroom apartment, and we had to conserve a lot of cash to make sure that we could survive this thing. And then it came to a point where we ran out of reserves on these properties, and we had to start injecting cash every single month to get through these things. And that was really, really stressful. I don't know if you've ever been in a spot before where you kind of feel like your back's up against the wall, but we definitely hit it during this. And what we ended up doing, and I don't even know how this happened, but I thank God for it, is we ended up turning back to some of those rentals that we had bought 6, 7, 8 years ago. Like this first one that I showed you that my wife did, 1180 Minnehaha. We ended up putting it up for sale. And what happened is we thought that we would sell it and maybe bring home like $10,000, $15,000, but we ended up selling it and we gross profited around $65,000. That's okay, buddy. We made it. Okay. We made a gross profit out of 65. We probably net about 30, maybe 35 after paying realtors and commissions and all that kind of stuff. But when we made that money, like, we started actually doing the math to figure out how we made that much. And here's how. If you've ever sold a rental property before that you've owned for a while, you probably have seen this. If you haven't, then we want to show you this, because this is the most powerful investment strategy I've ever seen. That your tenant, when they're paying you every single month that mortgage payment, they're giving you the rent, I should say. They give you the rent money, and then you go to the bank and pay the mortgage payment. Every single month, that mortgage payment, it pays part of the principal down and part of the interest down. Now, I know it's mostly interest up front, but after you start cresting like the 7, 8, 9 year mark, especially if you have shorter term mortgages, you're paying down the principal a lot. And it's basically like the tenant is paying down that principal. And when you pay down the principal balance on the loan, you're actually stacking up a savings account for yourself when you need it. And that savings account is something that we call our secret savings account. And this property for us, it became an accidental secret savings account, but when we sold it, we brought in some money, which then helped us survive and pay for all the bills that I mentioned and pay for expenses and get through it. That was one property. Okay, so you see the Superman icon pop up on the house, but literally that's how it felt to us to be able to tap into that equity that was created by the secret savings account. Okay, here's another one. I showed you this property earlier, but this is another one that we sold. When we sold it, we grossed 42. We probably net 25 on it after paying realtors. Incredible property. This was another secret savings account that happened to us. And we kept doing that over and over and over again. And we sold a lot of rental properties, dozens of rental properties to cash in on equity and take them forward for making sure that we could survive through the heaviness of these flips. And we started really thinking about this to figure out like, hey, how is it that we're working on these giant flips, we're spending so much time and energy on them, but we're losing money on them? How is it that these rentals, which we don't put any time into at all anymore, how are they continuing to pay us over and over again? I mean, they gave us cash flow all the way through. And then on top of it, after the cash flow, when we needed to sell, we were able to tap into that equity in those properties. So we figured out with these rentals that they were really the life-saving thread for us. And what ended up happening, like we call this our secret savings account, but what ended up happening is that this concept was the lifesaver for us. So we started building our business around this. We started building our business around being basically a market maker, our secret savings account. And we realized that when you're flipping houses like this, these little rentals, you have so much more safety. You're not worried about if it doesn't sell. Like, hey, what if it doesn't sell? Like those big $1 million houses, if those don't sell, you're writing checks every single month. But these little tiny houses, if these don't sell, no big deal. You start collecting cash flow every single month from that day forward. And the other thing about it, when we started comparing the big flips versus these little tiny rentals, is in concept, they're almost the same amount of time invested up front. Like you got to spend some time doing your due diligence, looking at it, organizing stuff for the contractor and saying yes, wiring money, all that kind of stuff. You do the same amount of work, whether it's a big house or a small house. And then the big difference is that small house will pay you a lifetime of profits versus the big house as a flip. That's a one-time profit. Which would you rather have, the lifetime profit or the one-time profit? I will take the lifetime profit any day of the week. Hands down, no questions asked. I want the lifetime profit. Okay. Next, I started digging in and doing some more research on this. Like, okay, is this just a fluke that this happened to us? Is like these rental properties saved our life? Is this just a fluke or what else is going on? And so I started going through a lot of our clients' results as well. And I went through and I searched out, we've got a client that's got 30 plus properties. I think he's almost at 40 right now. And I started looking at his numbers and I'm like, okay, wow, look at this. And he had sold some of the properties. So I'd seen some of the results. He had collected cash flow. I had heard from him how he's doing. Then I started going through our other landlords. We had 100 plus landlords that I went through their data on. And I started realizing like, wow, this is actually really powerful. It's working for people. Cool. And then I started doing research out there. You guys have probably heard the famous quote from Andrew Carnegie that you see on your screen. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. I could go on and on about quotes like from Warren Buffett. Just a few years ago, he said, if I feasibly could, I would buy a couple of 100,000 single family houses because he believes in the asset class so much. And that on top of the different tax strategies that you have with real estate, these cash flow properties are like the best thing possible. And then I started actually going through like just our comments on our Facebook page. And I was blown away by reading like what our cash flow is doing for people. These are comments that are posted all over our Facebook page, bunch of 5-star reviews, people saying, hey, I love these properties, these cash flow properties, they're great. This made me feel much better about the position that I was once in. Like this stuff works. And like, this is what I want to do forever. And now here I am, like, I'm preaching this. I am preaching it tonight. I'm not going to stop. You couldn't pay me to shut up right now. I want people to know the power of the secret savings account. Like you have to have a secret savings account built up for you. Almost every wealthy person that I know has secret savings account being built up for them from their tenants paying it every single month. So here's our guy. Let's just call this is our secret savings account guy. Let's call him the market maker. And this can be you as well. We want you to be just like Superman, wearing your cape and being a market maker as well. Okay, so let's get back to the original secret. I said secret number one, we're going to help you find deals. How do we help you find deals? Okay, finding deals for a market maker, this is someone that likes to play in this landlord arena, is much easier today than it is for a flipper. The folks that are trying to look for the flip type deals, those are really hard. They're competitive. Maybe you're submitting offers now, and are you getting into multiple offer situations? I know that I am, and I was, especially when I was chasing those flip type deals. There are people going crazy, fighting one another for those deals. So we've decided to go against the tide and find a different path, the one that least resistance. And we found an algorithm that basically lets us identify undervalued properties in the marketplace that will be good rentals. They've got to have pretty good equity and they've got to have good cash flow. Cash flow is the most important factor in the entire equation, because even if it doesn't sell, we want to know that you or us, regardless of who's taking it, is going to be safe. That's going to cash flow each month for us. So we basically run our algorithm for that. We try to find the best ones. And then once we've identified those, then we bring the team out to do the inspections, the rehab quotes and all that kind of stuff. And then we bring the deal forward for you. So that's the major shift. Just grab that concept. However you go out and find properties, there's a million different ways. You can go to the auctions, you can find people that go to the auctions and you can buy from them wholesale. It's actually a really, really good one. You should write that one down. Find people that go to the auctions and buy from them at wholesale price. That way you're not stuck putting up all your cash at the auction itself. It's a really, really good tip and an effective way to get good deals. But there's a million ways to do it. But the point is, go away from where the mad rush of people is trying to go. They're all trying to grab these retail flips. Stop it. Don't fight with them. Don't get into multiple offers. You go for the properties that are undervalued right now, the cash flow market, because these cash flow properties will let you tap in as a rental. And then someday when you want to sell it, you can potentially sell it for a good profit too. Okay, so you might be saying, well, hey, Nate, it's not that easy. There's no good deals out there. I've been submitting offers and I've been trying to get rentals and all that kind of stuff, especially if you're fighting in Denver right now. I know it, I get it. I fought in some of the most competitive markets myself. My wife and I used to buy houses in Orlando, Florida, and Orlando was shooting through the moon a couple of years ago, and it was tough to get deals there. I believe it, I know it. And so don't do it anymore. Don't fight those competitive markets like that. Come to a market that's much softer, one that you can actually grab deals in. Come to a market like we're in, for example. Okay. The other thing is that you probably have felt this, but you're competing against some pretty big players. You're competing against these big institutions like hedge funds. They're competing against all of us. They're trying to gobble up properties still. Some of them have slowed down, but other ones have started up and they keep buying and buying and buying. And the other thing about those hedge funds is that those hedge funds, it's not your fault that you can't really beat them. They have the deck of cards stacked in their favor majorly. And maybe you've seen this, if you're getting into multiple offers against them, or they've got cash and they've got control of the contractors because they're doing more renovations than you. I get it. And then when the contractor comes to you and tries to bid your job, he tries to charge too much. We're literally going through it right now with one of our really good contractors. They've got work from a hedge fund right now and they've got work from us, but the work from the hedge fund's better. So our bids are going up. So we've had to bring in more contractors to help offset that cost. But I get it. It's not your fault that you're struggling right now to find deals or get them rehabbed right now. What you have to do is start to basically be smarter than what the hedge funds are doing. The other big thing, this drives me crazy. I've got to show you this. Okay, so these institutions that they've got basically all this horsepower behind them, on top of having the contractors in their pocket and on top of having cash ready to go, they get free money. Not literally free, but almost free. Did you see this article that Fannie Mae backed Blackstone for over $1 billion in rental home loans? Fannie Mae, this is the underwriter that are the company that buys most of the mortgages in the country, and they're supposed to be buying them mainly for first-time home buyers or move-up buyers so that they keep liquidity in the mortgage marketplace. Well, they gave all the money to Blackstone, a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. How is that fair? That's at 2 to 4% kind of money. I don't know the exact rate, so don't quote me on that, but it's super, super cheap money. Why isn't that? Oh, I'm still talking on number one. You're right, buddy, because you want to talk on number two. Sorry, Bianca's telling me I'm talking too much. I get a little bit worked up on this one because Fannie Mae, literally, they give money to Blackstone. It's totally not fair. Guys like you and I, or ladies like you and my wife, should be able to get good financing at super cheap rates, not big hedge funds. But that's life. So we decided we have to get smarter. We can't just stop and get stuck in the mud. So we figured out a smarter and faster system. And basically we band together with investors like yourself and us to start acting like we're buying in bulk. So are we literally buying 40 at a time? No, we're buying one at a time, but we can accumulate 40 per month. In fact, we had one month where we did 61 properties cumulative total with all of our investors. Now, when we're starting to buy in bulk like that, or at least appear to be in bulk, contractors start coming to us saying, hey, you've got a lot of volume. We'll work for you for less. We know that you've got money there behind you. We'll do that for you. You start to get materials at discounted prices, like you start buying furnaces 10 at a time and AC units, and you start getting discounted prices. And then all of a sudden, the contractors are willing to extend payment terms to you. Rather than having to prepay them for everything that they do, you can start to get them to work on your favorable payment terms, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we also learned that we had to be twice as fast to lock up these deals. So when we see a really good deal, and we do all the vetting and the due diligence on it, and we bring it forward to you, then we just have to move quickly because we got to beat the big guys. And the way that we beat the big guys is by banding together and being much, much faster than the big guys can. And we can do that together. I know that we can because we're doing it right now, and we're going to do it with you guys when you're ready to get help on it. Okay, so let me click ahead a couple of here. I want to show you basically what this has done for us in 2017. This is just 2017. You tell me what's on this slide right here, buddy. Okay, 2017, we went from 0 to $9.8 million in sales with no hedge funds buying here. No hedge fund money whatsoever. This is all investors just like you and I working together to really kick some butt. So I give the applause 100% to our clients that came in and bought really strong with us, and also our team. We have an incredible team that's working really hard to make sure that investors are safe and getting what they're supposed to get. And we went from 0 to $9.8 million in 2017. What's even cooler is that we got to help 117 investors build up their portfolio. A lot of those investors bought multiple properties, but we got to help 117 investors in 2017 build up their portfolio. We got to also help one client retire, literally retire on rental income. That's really cool. We want to make a ton more of those happen. We also got to help create massive equity in people's portfolio by buying properties at a discount. And then we also helped generate, this is an estimate based on the rental projections. I don't have exact stats because I don't have everyone's financials, but this is based on what we projected everything to rent at. Then we helped people create last year $137,000 in gross monthly income. That's about $1.65 million per year in gross monthly income. Is that pretty cool? I thought that was really cool. Okay, here's one of the clients now. He might even be on the webinar tonight. Ron, if you're on, thanks for joining us and thanks for working with us. It's always been a pleasure, and I look forward to doing a lot more deals with you. I'm just going to do a case study. I asked him permission about this one a while ago, but this is one property that he bought with us, 1161 Geranium Avenue. I'm on number 2 now, buddy. Okay, I promise I'll let you in. I got to let Bianco in or he's going to get mad at me here. So Ron, basically, he bought this property, 1161 Geranium Avenue East. He invested $85,000 into this thing, rented it out for about $1,100 per month, and then he later sold it. It was making really good cash flow on it, but he later sold it for $165,000. So that's a gross number. I don't know his actual net, but you can do the math on it and you can figure out that he did pretty well on that property. And then he currently owns 37 houses. He's considering selling some of the ones he bought previously that are in one of the markets that's hot right now, but he doesn't need to either. He's comfortable collecting the cash. Okay. Beyond that, we've got guys like Mark. I mentioned this guy earlier. He's gone up. He's had some months where literally he had 1 month after working with us where he got to 23 deals in 1 month. You can see a whole bunch more clients across the bottom of your screen, from professional hockey players to professional consultants, CPAs, you name it. We've got a lot of different professions that have jumped in and realized this concept works for them, even in their busy or retired lives. Okay, let's go into number 2. Bianca, this is number 2. What do you want to tell them? You want to tell them something?
One of the houses was damaged. I want to go to say that.
So Bianca went on the tour last weekend. We did a property tour. We do that once a month in the marketplace. We do it up in Milwaukee primarily. And Bianca went on tour, and when he was on tour, he noticed that one of the houses had damaged floors. And he was just saying that we have to fix that, right? We got to fix that?
Yeah, stop it.
Okay, what'd you think of the house over by Lake Michigan?
It was nice.
You like that one?
Yes.
Okay. There was one house you could see Lake Michigan from it for only $107,000. Like in my experience, anytime that you can see water like that on a great lake like Lake Michigan and you can scoop it up for $107,000, that is a home run, like a steal. So that was last weekend. So it was a good tour though, Bianco? Okay, awesome. All right, I'll keep going, okay? Okay, so next one that we're gonna cover secret number 2, which is you can manage contractors and property managers from anywhere. You don't have to be on the job site every single day. Now, can I say that you might do it differently than a different project manager or a different general contractor? Certainly. So, hey buddy, is it okay if I talk on this part? Okay, awesome. So you might do things differently than some general contractors and some property managers, but you don't have to micromanage and burn all of your time chasing contractors or chasing property managers. There are some property managers out there and some contractors that, given the right system and given the right leadership, they actually do a really good job. I know that probably got a million different stories of different contractors. There's probably 1 out of 10 that meets all of your satisfaction level, like all of your criteria to hit satisfaction. Our team goes out and does the vetting and tries to bring forward the best of the best contractors that we possibly can. Now, no one's perfect out there, but we've got a really tight system. And I'm going to show you some of the concepts of the system that make it safe for a real estate investor. And that's the key part, is we like real estate investing to be safe. We don't want to get into those risky scenarios like the big flip that I mentioned earlier. We want to be in scenarios where we're cash flow positive some short time period after we purchase it and after we do the renovation. Okay, so here's how this works. We have a platform. Think of it a little bit like Expedia.com or Booking.com. You jump online and you can actually book things for real estate. Okay, what can you book through real estate? On HomeInvest.com, you can jump on there, you submit your information to us, and we're going to talk about how to do that tonight. And by the way, there's like no sales pitch to this webinar whatsoever. What we do is we're trying to educate, add goodwill, and then if you like what we're talking about, then maybe we'll step forward and we'll work together. So here's the thing. With HomeInvest.com, I'll show you how you can jump on it later. You jump on, you apply to work with us. We'll go through basically our step-by-step process with you, taking it further level than we went tonight, and we'll show you this is how you pick a house, this is how you pick the rehab contractor, this is how you pick the property management company, and then you go ahead and say yes, click yes to submit to all of it, and then we'll walk you through a handheld process to get you all the way from start to finish. Okay? Yep, we'll do that one as soon as the webinar is done, buddy. Okay, so how does the contracting side work? This is a really big one for most people. Most people have had some kind of pain with contractors before, so I want to touch on this. Okay, you can see on your screen right now before and after pictures. You see the left side is a house that's rather dated. You see on the right side, it's updated. Okay, on the exterior, notice it got a new roof, it got a concrete sidewalk, it got a front porch built on it. On the interior, you see that it's got brand new kitchen cabinets, new light fixtures, new appliances, new floor covering, new GFCI outlets, new sinks, new faucets, new everything basically. Okay, that's before and after across the entire renovation. Now, when we go in to try to bid these houses, we direct the contractor and the inspector to bid it as if they're going to own it for the next 5 years. What do they think is going to break? Now, they're not perfect by any means. So what we do is we have a contractor and a licensed inspector walk through the property so that we can try to catch from multiple different angles and multiple different opinions anything that we can forecast that's wrong with the property. Anything that they don't catch, then what we always encourage people to do is purchase a home warranty that we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay, so with that, basically, we can capture all this stuff and then assign the scope of work to the contractor, and the contractor goes to work as soon as it closes and gets the renovation done. Now, to put you in the driver's seat as the owner of the property from afar is we have a certain methodology to contracting that has turned the industry literally upside down. Okay, almost every contractor that I know, and since I started in this business, they want to get paid up front. They want a down payment so they can pay for materials, or they want 50% down, sometimes more. And I've had experiences before where that down payment thing doesn't work out for me in my favor. So we flip the contracting world upside down. You don't pay contractors anything until they finish. I'll repeat that because most people are probably saying, I don't believe you, Nate. That's not possible, Nate. Literally, contractors don't get paid until they finish. What we did is we take your rehab money, it sits in an escrow account, and that escrow account is only payable once the contractor gets their full scope of work signed off on. Okay, so that puts you back in the driver's seat. You no longer have to fear basically being taken for a ride by the contractor. Okay, so the contractor finishes the work, they get paid the majority of it as soon as they finish, and then they get paid a small holdback after the tenant moves into the property and all the warranty issues are cleared from the renovation. Try to get your contractor to do that tomorrow. It's not easy, but we were able to do it by building relationships and showing them that sheer volume that I talked about earlier. Okay, so how does this come to you? How does it get reported to you? You get videos. We're basically grabbing videos from the field at least once per week so that you can watch the play-by-play action, almost like you're watching your own HGTV show. So if you maybe enjoy transforming broken houses into beautiful houses, this will really be your thing, kind of watching that flow and that process as it goes. And then the property management side, we have a certified licensed property management company, licensed broker in the area that picks it up from there. As soon as it's renovated, then they take it into leasing, they start screening tenants and doing background checks. Once they find a qualified tenant, they'll do the move-in, they'll then manage the maintenance. If there's any maintenance calls, they'll also do all of your rent collections and accounting for you and send it to you in a detailed list at the end of each month. So it's pretty cool, pretty simple process, but that's how the property management side works. Cool. Next, okay, we talked about secret number 3. Let's touch on this right now too. Okay, you can do this literally from anywhere in the country with no prior experience required. Okay, now you might be saying, well, Nate, how on earth do I know how to pick the contractor? Or how do I know how to pick the properties? That's what Home Invest can help you do. Okay, we still want you to do all the due diligence on your own. Whatever you want to do, like whatever you think you should do, you are more than welcome to do it. But what we've done on our side is we pull forward everything that we think you're going to ask for, like the inspection report, like the contractor report, like how much is it going to rent for from the property management company? What are the comps in the area? All that stuff. We're going to dig it up with the best that we possibly can from those professional resources, each one that I commented on there, and we'll provide that to you so that we can make this process for you, whether you're a busy professional, retired, or an expert in real estate already. We can make this process really, really simple for you. So then you can turn these properties basically into cash producing income properties and build up your secret savings account. Now, if you're wondering about the resale side, how does resale possibly work? Think about this. You probably heard of the Carfax before for cars, right? That's where basically there's a written report of every accident the car's been and all the dents and dings that it's had over time. We've invented something similar for houses. We have the Home Invest Fax. And the way that the Home Invest Fax works is that when you go through renovation with us, we fully document the entire process. So we've got the scope of work from the contractor, we've got the videos, like we got everything. We know before and after, inside and outside of that property really, really well. Okay, we fully document the inspection reports. And then after you rent it out and start collecting rent, then you've got to professionally, probably not too much more, buddy. You've got a professionally managed asset on your hands. Okay, so we can then take the financial reports and we can also share that with the next potential buyer. Imagine this, having all the data, all the historical facts, all the inspection reports, etc. If you were the next buyer of that property, would you feel more comfortable with this property, with having everything laid out right in front of you, or buying one that's randomly placed on the MLS with no history, you don't know anything about the tenant, you don't know anything about the renovation, etc.? 9 out of 10 people are going to say, I want the Carfax, or I want the Home Invest Fax. So we've created this marketplace now where we have transparency. So the end buyers are more excited to actually pick up deals like that when they don't have to wonder, what is the other person hiding? Okay. So who is this working for? Well, it worked for my wife and I. We were kind of the first guinea pig couple. When we needed to tap into cash, we tapped into cash, just like that. I showed you a couple different properties. We've also got another client. This client is basically a CFO of a company, and this is what he had to say about us. He didn't know what to expect. He didn't know how being a landlord would shake out, but he said it was truly a turnkey process. Home Invest led me by the hand and was prompt with all follow-up and answered all my questions. And then he said, if someone were thinking of investing, they understand the process and have a good team members to help. It was really a passive investment. I can't beat the returns in the stock market that I get from Home Invest. Glenn, thank you for that testimonial. That's awesome. That's one example of someone that's very, very hands-off. He's a passive real estate investor. We've also got other real estate investors that are a little more active. They want to go through the scope of work and they want to pick stuff out. That's totally fine. Ultimately, it's your property. We're just here to help be the guide to help you get from start to finish. Okay, I could show you hundreds and hundreds of houses that have gone through a system like this and were sold as rental properties. I'm not going to bore you with all of that tonight. I'll just flash a couple of them on the screen. But the bigger thing, you can even Google search this, is that we're not the only ones doing this. One company that I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, they literally have sold $1 billion worth of these in the last 2 years, 500 million per year. Like, they are cooking. That proves that there is a giant marketplace for this. There are people out there around the world, and we do have worldwide buyers buying this, around the world that want to jump in on this bandwagon to collect cash flow and then buy turnkey properties at some point. Okay, so let's go through basically the hidden benefits. I want to recap this so we can get towards the close of this webinar. Okay, number one hidden benefit is the secret savings account. We talked about that, but that's your tenant paying you every single month, and that pays down the principal on the mortgage payments. Number two is that houses usually appreciate over time. You can look up almost every single housing cycle on the Case-Shiller index for the last 75 years. And you'll see that there's some corrections, there's some up and down to it, but overall, houses usually appreciate every single year. So that's a nice thing for real estate, okay? The other thing about these rental properties is that you make, once you do the work on the property versus a flip, you make a lifetime profit if you hold on to it as a cash flow property. Whereas when you do a flip, like a traditional retail flip, you make a one-time profit. Do you want the lifetime profit or do you want the one-time profit? I'll take the lifetime any day of the week. Bianca, do you want lifetime or one-time?
Lifetime.
Bianca wants lifetime too. Okay, the other thing is that these properties are much safer than most of the big flips. Like, if you want safety and you don't want to worry about maybe the market changes and shifts and all that kind of stuff, cash flow is a much better play than taking a risk or a gamble on the big retail flips. So the safety of rentals, but you still have the power of flipping it at some point in the future, that's a nice equation for these little rental properties. Okay, there's also massive tax write-offs. I could spend a whole different webinar on that, and I probably will hold another webinar with Mike soon to talk about tax write-offs since we just cleared tax time. But there's massive, massive benefits to taxation in real estate. And that's why most wealthy people have real estate as part of their portfolio. Okay. The only thing that we didn't mention on here is that there's these payment terms for contractors. That's the last thing I missed on the other slide. The payment terms for contractors have been flipped upside down, and now they're totally in your favor. So if you're looking for safety with contractors, this is the safest that we possibly could create it as well. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Did you learn anything tonight? Go ahead and say yes, no. If you learned something, please shoot me a yes. Shoot Bianca, Mike, and I a yes so that we know you're still awake. Did you enjoy the time together? I hope yes. I hope you got something out of tonight. I hope there was some piece of value for you. And then, do you feel more comfortable with this concept now? Now that you've seen over $1 billion worth of sales go through in the last 2 years, and you've seen real life people actually doing this, does that give you an edge at all in real estate? I'm hoping you say yes to this, because what my ask is next is that if you think, or if you've seen value in our team, then this is what you can do next. We're a small team. We don't have 1 million people out there that are able to support, but we do have the people that you see on your screen right now. These are our home invest advisors and portfolio managers. These are the people that help choose real estate deals and guide you from start to finish in the entire process. If you saw some value in potentially working with us, then what I invite you to do is we're going to have you apply to work with them. You just fill out a quick survey for us so that we know a little bit of who you are, and then we'll schedule a time to jump on the phone with you and go in detail on our process. And then we'll also get to know and understand what your goals are. If your goals are to build equity or to build cash flow or to maybe roll over an IRA, or maybe it's complete a 1031 exchange, whatever that is, we'll help you with that on that call. Rather than you having to go out and chase contractors or spend time dealing with plumbing calls and all that kind of stuff from a tenant, instead spend a little bit of time with one of our team members, and maybe we can help cut those extra burdens out of your life and you can get straight to the good part. And basically, we'll give you the step-by-step guided approach to fixing houses, renting houses, and then collecting the cash flow and then selling it later if you want. Here's another one of our clients from Denver. This is John. He just did one of these market maker type houses. He bought it, he collected the cash flow for a while, and then he turned around and sold it, and he did it in a short window of time. So he told us that his annualized ROI on it was 26%, which is insane, like really, really good. While it was rented out, he had an 8.92% ROI, which is also really, really good. Okay, so just imagine this, and then I'm going to post this link and take questions here at the end. If you could just have more time with your family instead of calling contractors, or if you could take in more passive income instead of taking all of those tenant leasing calls or maintenance calls, and if you could have your own people on the ground looking after stuff for you, and then build up your secret savings account for the life things that you need, like Bianco's education, maybe, or your son or daughter's education, or your retirement, or emergency funds like my wife and I had to do, or vacations, whatever it is. But just imagine yourself having some rentals like this, building up a secret savings account for you. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. If you decide to go forward tonight, and this is for tonight only for the group that Mike has brought forward to us, DAREI members only. This isn't for anybody else that's out there because we're doing something kind of unique. We're gonna do a strategy session for you for free. Usually these are with our very experienced real estate investors themselves. Like one of them, she's on the webinar tonight. She's done over $1 million herself in real estate deals. We've got another person that's a home invest advisor that's done over 30 properties. Like these are true successful real estate investors. They'll be on the line with you answering questions for you live, okay? Next thing is that if you decide to ever come on a property tour with us in the future, we'll let you bring a guest for free. It's a $300 value. We had an awesome tour last weekend up in Milwaukee. If you ever want to come, then we'll let you bring a guest with you for free. We just ask that you cover a registration fee for yourself, small. Okay, and then the last thing that we'll do as just a bonus is that we're going to give you our coveted lender list. And what that is it's basically the banks that will lend to your LLC, your trust, some that will do your IRA financing, those trickier situations. If you ever been to the bank and they say, no, we can't do that kind of loan, we probably have a lender on our list that will help you. We've literally called over 300 banks and scrubbed them to find the lenders that actually do things the right way for real estate investing. So total value on this stuff is $1,100. We're not charging anything. We're not selling anything here whatsoever. I'm just telling you this so that you know, like, this is real value we're trying to give to you and give you goodwill. And with all this stuff, literally you can apply tonight for free. And if you think that this will help you having a professional team in real estate, then I'd encourage you to take that jump forward with us. So with that said, what I want to do now is I want to open it up for questions because there's already people that are basically logging on over there starting to type some stuff. So if you've got questions, feel free to start typing them in. And then what I'm going to do is I'll post the link if you want to move forward and you want to actually talk with our team. Then yeah, we took quite some time, didn't we, buddy? We took 52 minutes and we've still got almost everybody. Actually, there's more people on right now than we started with. So that's awesome. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. I'm posting that link right now so that you can see it. It'll be posted right on your screen. Okay, and then we're taking questions now. So if you've got questions, please fire off your questions, and then Mike and I will answer them as we see them pop up on our screen. And then that link right there, basically all you do is click apply here. It's a short survey. It's 9 questions, I believe. And it's just for us to get to know you a little bit before we actually jump on the call with you. Cool. Bob asks the first question, what are your fees? And if you see me looking over here, it's because I have split screen. I've got 2 screens. So what are your fees? Bob, great question. Bianca, what are our fees? How do we get paid? With money. With money. That's what Bianca says, with money. Okay, so yes, here's how it works. We basically act as a real estate broker on the front side. There's people that will bring properties to us. They'll get listed. I mentioned the guys that go to the auction earlier. That's a primary source for us to get properties. Guys that go to the auction or ladies that go to the auction, they buy them with their cash and then they come to us and say, hey, I bought 3, can you sell one of them? And then we'll list those. So we get pretty good deals that way. We get paid a commission right there. We get paid a listing commission, so to speak. The next spot is when we deploy a contractor, some of the contractors will pay us a fee. Usually that fee is around $1,000. Most often, especially recently, a lot of times that gets waived, but at a big payday for us, we'd make $1,000 on a contracting job. No, not too much. We're just going to answer their questions. See, they're typing questions over here, and we're going to answer all their questions, and then we're going to say goodnight to them. Yep, then we'll go home. Okay. You got it. Okay. And then the last one is property management. Property management, so that's not our company, but I'll tell you their fee schedule. And there's a couple different property managers you can choose from. We just vet to find the best, and the only ones that like I use personally and other investors use personally that are on our team. So they charge anywhere from $89 per month. That's $89, up to $99 per month. And then they charge a tenant placement fee of the first month's rent. Okay, so your first month that you move a tenant in, that all goes to the leasing agent. After that, they're charging you less than $100 per month to manage your house. And then the other fee is a renewal fee. If the tenant is going to stay for the next year, they do send somebody out there to negotiate with the tenant and try to pull the lease numbers up, the rent amount up. So they pay their leasing agent $299. That's $299. And that's the fees for basically the services that we do. Now, is there insurance? Yes. You got to put property insurance on your house. You don't want your house to burn down and be without insurance. Can you buy things like home warranties? Yes. We have an incredible bulk rate on a home warranty. I personally buy it on every single one of my houses. We don't get paid for that, but we definitely put that forward and say, hey, here's a warranty. I would definitely buy it. So yeah, those kinds of things. But I hope that answers your question. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. Cool. Let me pull up over here and see the other questions. My chat roll, I have to flicker screens. Okay, thanks, Jerry.
I know who that is.
Yeah, Jerry, nice to see your name, man. I haven't talked to you in probably 5-6 months. You got to see the slide of John. John's kicking butt and taking names. He's become a powerhouse in real estate all over the country now. Okay, and then there are a couple people that commented on the sound. Okay, next one. What's a good ROI on properties? Mike, what's a good ROI on properties? What are you seeing today? What's Denver like?
Oh, Denver? 8%. That's good here. Good 15%. And I know you can do better with cash there. So Denver's a pretty tough rental market. I certainly wouldn't buy here with what's available and what you're doing, for sure. No. Awesome. I got my own kids headed that way, so.
Woo, your daughter's going to buy one, right?
Yeah. So, man, just again, want to thank the club members and my students. I know there's a couple of guys on here tonight that are talking about, they're young guys starting to get in and build their rental portfolio, and this is exactly where I'm directing them. And I know there's some my fellow investors out there just want to say hello and check this out, man. Don't miss an opportunity like this. We're going to be expanding into some other markets here in the future too, which is kind of exciting. So.
Can we tell them? Is it top secret still?
Maybe not. No, they'll probably go. No, they want to go do all that themselves. I don't know why they would. When you can get it all done for you. So go ahead. Let them know.
Mike's been priming me for like 3 years, I swear, about Florida, a couple different cities in Florida. And he found a little hotbed of properties that we can start tapping into. So we're starting to do the vetting process now. We got to get the whole operation set up, property management, contractors, all that kind of stuff. But sometime this year, we're going to have Florida on the map. And Mike is leading the charge. So we're really excited about it. Well, not quite the cash flow that Milwaukee and Chicago have, but it's kind of fun to go to Florida in the winter.
Definitely. Excuse. But there's a lot of the houses don't need a lot of work at all. I mean, pretty much really turnkey. So we're excited about that too. So.
Nice. Well, I got a tired little guy, and I think we've answered all the questions. Mike, anything else that you want to say before we sign off and let people go to bed?
Nope, that's about it. Just guys, take advantage of this, and see you at our club meeting the third Monday in May, and looking forward to that. And again, man, if you're looking at building your rental portfolio, check into what Home Invest has to offer. They're the best in the nation. We've done a lot of research, and we've had a lot of people that have gone elsewhere, and they always seem to come back. And we've had very few that only buy one property. They're multiple property buyers once they get in there and see how Nate's system works. So really encourage you to do that. And thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Mike, thank you. Appreciate that. And thank you, Denver, for having us tonight, having my son and I and the technicians all. Like we've still got almost everybody that signed on originally on the webinar tonight. So just thank you for that. If you want to get to know us anymore, it's free 100%. All you got to do is click that apply button. You'll fill out a quick survey. And then on that survey, someone from our team will call you back within a day. And then we'll schedule a time where we can jump on the phone. So thank you again for joining us tonight, Mike. Thanks for hosting us.